friends. I missed you all. I've been gone for Thanksgiving break, but I am back now and ready to film away. So today we are going to be doing kind of the start of a new little monthly series that I am inspired to do now. And so that is to each month kind of bring to you guys all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have used for the month and kind of rank them and review them. I have been so inspired lately to try to use as many of my palettes as I can because, you know, I have so many that I collect and that I love, and yet so many sit there and I do just plain makeup looks every day. And so I was like, no, we're going to change that. And I've been so inspired also by my friend Alicia on Budget Beauty, Alicia Budget Beauty, I guess it is. And I talk about her a lot, and it's because she just inspires me so much and I learned so much from her. And she has this insane eyeshadow collection. Like, she used to have like over 500 palettes. So she's always doing declutters and rankings, and I think she's really gotten me into it now and really inspired me on a lot of the like indie brands and brands that I want to try and looks I want to play with. So we're going to do this. So I started collecting back at the beginning of the month and just keeping track of the palettes that I've been using. It's really been stretching me and challenging me to use them all. And so we are going to go through them all. So if that interests you and you love looking at different eyeshadow palettes, then stick around and let's get started. Okay guys, so I have 19 palettes for the month of November. So I'm also including everything that I've used in the month of November. So that includes for a makeup collab that I have. It's called Travel Tuesdays collab on my Instagram page, same handle, Shares Beauty. I actually just stepped down as the leader after 3.5 years in this collab. It makes me sad, but I don't have a lot of time, and I have to kind of prioritize like what my goals are. It's not quite as fitting in with my goals long term. I'm still going to try to be involved a little bit, but I'm not going to be leading it. But anyway, I have several looks that I've done this month for that collab specifically. You'll see more of the colorful ones on that one. I've also had a couple of review videos that I've brought you guys. So I used them for that, obviously. And I had some hauls, some beauty boxes. I'm a big beauty box channel here. So I've done some try on videos for my beauty boxes, which I tend to bring you now. So yeah, so a lot of this is part of the reviews I've already brought you or looks I've done for makeup collabs. But then some are just my everyday ones that I've done and have worn out. So those are probably going to be more the everyday wear, less of the very colorful wild looks or whatever. And I've had a few themed ones for Thanksgiving and fall and that kind of stuff. So enough yakking, let's go ahead and dig into them. Okay guys, so when I say ranking, let me clarify on this. I'm not going to be ranking them as far as, you know, from 19 down to 1, okay? It will be kind of hard for me, and the reason for this is there's different types of palettes. Some are more on the artistic side, and like they each serve their own purpose. So it's hard because there's some that might be a favorite for an everyday palette, but they're not a favorite overall if I really rank them compared to some of the others. You know what I mean? Like some may be boring compared to others, but yet I love them so much for an everyday. So that's why I say that. So instead, I'm going to present them to you in my categories. I've got 3 categories in mind here, and I'm going to kind of rank or just kind of let you know which ones are my favorite and my thoughts per category, if that makes sense. So we've got 3 categories. One is more of the everyday, just pretty looks category. Another one is the more creative, artistic palettes that are more colorful, of that have a lot of variety, versatility for, you know, a little more loud looks and theme looks and stuff. And then another category is going to be more, I wore them for seasonal reasons, like they were great for Thanksgiving or fall or the holidays coming up. So that's kind of more what I'm thinking. I'm going to go through more of like they were for seasonal reasons. So we're going to go in order of least favorite to favorite. So the first one we're going to start with is the Maddie Ziegler Morphe collab. I used to love this palette and thought it was the best thing on earth because of the pops of color in it with some of the browns. You know, I loved that yellow, and you know, you had a lot of colors in it, but then you also had your like pinks and browns and tans here and a little shimmer and a little matte. But I haven't played with it in a while, and having gone back to it now to try to create a specific look, I just wanted a pop of that yellow I don't have a lot of palettes with yellow in them, just a few. And, you know, I wanted to make that perfect little like turkey makeup. You may have seen the short, and I used like tan in here and the yellow, and I just did not like the formula. I could not get it to blend like I wanted. I had to spray and spray and spray to get it to show up. It was not working at all. So this is now not a favorite palette. I feel like the formula, which is weird. It's like I see what Alicia means by like after you collect a certain number of palettes and you really work with a lot of different formulas, you get to where like certain formulas that used to excite you, you're like, that's not really that great. Next is this Ciate London Spice palette. We got this in maybe a boxy or something, I think. I like the colors in the palette, like definitely makes more of the burgundy, brighter pinks, a little gold in there too. But I just feel like I can't do a lot with it. You know, there's only so many looks I do. They seem to all come out looking the same. And, you know, it's okay. I still like it. And I think it was great for fall. Like I was going for that, you know, spiced fall look, more burgundies and stuff. But it really, it's just, it's okay. There's just not like a huge amount to do with it, I guess is the main thing. Also Ciate London, and I liked more just because there's so much in here. But what I have found, I'm actually wearing it today. This is what I have on. So I think that's so pretty on my eyes. Like I love that soft look. But see, I gravitate towards like the same 3 colors in it, which is what I have on. So like I used, what did I use? I used the orange with a little pop of that on the corners and that shimmer right there. Like the whole palette is that shimmer. It's so pretty. See that pretty shimmer? That's what I love the palette for. But there are a lot of other looks you can make with it. You have the golds, you know, I think this is another good little fall palette. It's also a pretty good like summery palette too though, I think. But I like that it makes sort of subtle fall. And then today, you know, I have on pink, so it really goes and brings it all together, I think. So I really like it. I like it better than that Spice palette. Next, you might have seen this from my vlog and from my short. I did this look for one of my Thanksgiving looks, the Warrior palette by Juvia's Place. Love this palette so much. It's not the very top just because there's, you know, you're only going to get gold looks out of this, but they are very, very, very pigmented gold looks, like golden leaves, golden goddess. So it was an excellent, perfect Thanksgiving and fall palette. Loved it very much. And I love Juvia's Place. This is really dirty and messy. Sorry. Okay. Next is this one I've mentioned in my fall palettes before too, I think. The Pixie, what is this called? Rosette, I think. Rosette Ray palette. It's from Pixie Beauty. I love this palette a lot. I use it a lot as one of my everyday palettes, and it makes great fall looks because it's just, the shimmers in it are great, but then it also has these darker, like smoky fall, you know, looks too, but it still makes a really great, like everyday look, and it's great for travel also. So this is very high in my rankings. Okay guys, I goofed and I forgot one. I think I forgot to put it with the pile after I used it. This is the Arbon. It's All in the Eyes Volume 1 palette. I've tried to clean it, but it's like kind of stained, so excuse the mess. But anyway, makes a fabulous fall palette, very pigmented, easy to work with. So I really love this one. I think I kind of rank it above the Juvia's Place a little bit because there's just more looks to do. I love the warm tones in this. You've even got a green. Just really reminds me of like all the fall leaf colors. So this is definitely ranking pretty high. I actually wore it on Thanksgiving Day, so it did make a pretty good, and it makes great like everyday looks too. But I think I rank it pretty high in this category. So I just wanted to make sure I'd still included it. I noticed it while I was doing video editing that I had left it out. The last 2 favorites, I just did Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 2 palette, and this is the one that's more, you know, rose. It's not even rose. It's like, it's mostly smoky, certain looks that you can only do with this. You're not going to do a whole lot of like cut creases or, you know, it's going to be all like, I don't want to say carbon smoky, but you're going to be doing a covering your eyes with it and putting glitter on the top. The only downside of this palette, I feel like there's only certain looks you can do with it. And a lot of the looks come out looking exactly the same on your eyes. Like, I think that it could have been fine with 4 colors in it, and that would be all you needed in the palette, because you just don't come up with a lot of variety looks. But the looks I do make, I absolutely love. I love this palette, and maybe it's the packaging. It's just luxurious. It's amazing. So I just did a look that I was thinking more of for fall, but I feel like it came out a little more holidays because it was very glittery, and I did red lipstick with it. And so I'm going to call this more a holiday palette. And then the last one that is my absolute favorite of all, if you've seen it, the Natasha Denona Xenon palette. And so, you know, I did the whole review on it. This is definitely for the holidays. Loved it. I did 3 different looks, but you know, I did, you know, a few more after that too. And I really felt it was super versatile for the cool tone lovers. It's not versatile as far as lots of other looks you can do, but there's a lot of blue leaning looks with this, but then also great smoky ones too. And this is definitely my top ranking. And for all of my eyeshadow palettes overall in this video, I'm going to say this is number 1 for me. I was so excited for this one. We're going to go with kind of the everyday but pretty looks category here. I'm going to start with, you've seen this in videos before, the Tarte Linen Bloom by Tarte. Very standard like bridal makeup. It's everyday makeup. I did wear this just as everyday, thinking kind of leaning towards fall, but it really doesn't make the greatest fall because it's not super orange. It's just a lot of neutrals and pinks. And so I used to absolutely love this. I've started to love it a little less lately. I mean, it's great. It's good for just a standard, but it is boring compared to some of these others. I would say the Lancome, and this is the Hypnose palette, and this was gifted to me by them. I absolutely love this, so I hate like putting it kind of in the last, but it is just, there's pretty much 1 look you can make with it, maybe 2 if you wanted to just stick with only pinks or go with smoky. It's mostly that there's just not a lot you can do, but it is a fabulous travel palette. I think this is what I took with me to Scotland and just kind of had my everyday standard look. And I loved the finish on it. It really was perfect. Like, came out with a really soft but very subtle look. This gives very subtle colors. So I think this is amazing for your everyday people that don't want a lot, but just the perfect little soft feminine touch, and great for travel. It was very portable. Love it. Lancome never fails me. Okay, and then next I have this MAC. I had this in a video. It's very dirty. Sorry, I really should clean my palettes before I show them to you, but this makes great neutrals also, but they come out a little darker and a little better for fall in my opinion, because they do have some of these darker options, but you don't have a super amount of like shimmers or anything like that. It's mostly matte. This is a little shimmery and this, but a nice little combination to make a little bit darker neutrals and not just your same old boring subtle neutrals. Okay, and then that brings us down to these last 2. Got this Blossom 2AN palette, okay? And I got this PR gifted also. It was part of that Strawberry Net channel. Like, you can go shop for a lot of beauty stuff, and they sent me this complimentary for it. And it is so pretty with all the pretty pinks and stuff. This is probably why I put this as like a top favorite in here, because I love pink soft colors. They're very like feminine, and I still think this is a good everyday for the pinks. There's not a lot of like neutrals, or you know, you're not gonna get hardly any neutrals out of this. This is just your very feminine soft pinks. Love it. And then the last, which is probably top favorite, is the Pat McGrath. This was the Divine Rose. A lot of you got it in your Ipsy icon box. I didn't, but as I just mentioned in my recent video, I traded with a YouTube family member who got got it in hers, and so we did a little trade, and so I was able to get it from her, and I'm so excited. I love this. Now, I have to say, even though this is ranked as like the top of my list for everyday palettes, it wasn't my favorite of Pat McGrath's. We got another one in Icon Box a while back that I loved so much. Like, the formula was just amazing in it. This one was not quite the same formula. I don't know what was different, but I still loved it so much. Very beautiful, pretty pigmented, like very, very pink on the eyes, but a little different color pinks than this other one that was a softer, you know, the softer, lighter pinks. This one gives you a pretty bright pink. But so you notice that the two pink ones were my favorites because, as you can see, I love pink. So yes, loved my Pat McGrath. So excited. That was the second Pat McGrath palette I've gotten though, so I can't really compare the formula to all the other ones, but still loved it. It was just, I wouldn't say it was as good as that other palette I got. Okay, now we're going to move on to the more just artistic, like more bold colors, creative palettes category. So as I mentioned, I did all of these more as either makeup collabs or try-ons, specific looks or whatever. So the first one was the Destino from Alamar Cosmetics palette. And this was in BoxyCharm, right? This last month in November. And okay, y'all, I've got it ranked last. I'm sorry. Not because it's a bad palette. Like, I really, really have enjoyed it. It's just, you know, it's behind a few others for particular reasons, and I'll explain why. Love the color story on it. It's just maybe formula wise, I didn't find it to blend as well as I'd liked. You know, like some of the shimmers. I feel like this one maybe was the one that popped the most, and the rest of them I had to really build up. So it was more the formula as to why I'm ranking it last. And I love the color story on it. It's just that I probably don't need this color story as much as I do some of my other creative looks for some of what I do, but it made a neat, new, unique one that like I didn't have. So, so still really liked it. It's just, that's why it's kind of more at the back. Next is the Jeffree Star Blue Bloods palette, and I've had this one for a while. I still love it. I shamefully love me some Jeffree Star formula. I really do. I love the formula. You can't beat it. So it really mostly makes a lot of blues, but I do a lot of, whenever I do blue looks, I come back to this one for almost all of them because I love the formula in it. I love how pigmented everything is, but it does only make certain kinds of blues. So I just know, you know, there's others I can use too. Sorry guys, my dog was like licking, so I had to stop for a minute. Anyways, love the formula on it, but only makes like, you know, blues. And it's, you know, I've had it for a little while, and it's Jeffree Star. So kind of towards the back here. And then another one I've had forever is the Take Me Back to Brazil palette, BH Cosmetics. Absolutely love this palette, have had it forever. I mean, I don't mean to rank it low because I still love it. This is my go-to for so many of my creative looks because it has like so much in the rainbow. So whenever I need these bright tropical or pastel or, you know, pastel-y rainbow colors, always a go-to, and I love it. The Milani Gilded Jewel. So I used this for a look, I think. And I love this palette too. It makes some really pretty bright blues and greens that I think are just stunning. So I really love it, and it's Milani. I really like Milani's formula for a drugstore brand. They're one of my favorites. Last, that are top three, I tried out that Wicked Widow Graveyard Smash palette, which came in the Eye Candy Beauty box, and it came a little late because I signed up late. It came in November, even though this was perfect for Halloween, but it is now like a total favorite because the formula was unbelievable. It made the most incredible shimmers, especially, and just killer like Halloween looks. So even though it was November, I did use it in November as a try on and loved it. Oh my gosh. And that was my first Wicked Widow palette. Okay, and then it is really hard to choose between these two, but I think I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I used the little mini Natasha Denona Pastels palette. Got this back a while ago. It was more around like spring, and it's definitely more of like a spring palette, but I don't know if you saw my short. I did this for, it was like we did a Mexico theme, and there was a soft, beachy, like blues and golds, sand colors and stuff, and I used the blues and the gold, and just I was reminded how much I love this palette. The formula is amazing in it, and how much I love Natasha Denona, and what a difference it makes when I use her formula. So this is ranked at the very top, but I think the next one is my absolute favorite of all for this, you know, category, which is the Adep Cosmetics Minka. And I did this one for another Mexico one. Mostly did the silvers and gold. You might have seen it in one of my YouTube videos too. This is mostly all shimmers in this palette, but oh, this is still one of my favorite absolute palettes of all. It is just stunning, and like on the eyes, it is just wow. Wow, wow, wow. So anyway, that's all of them. I think that was all 19. Everything that I have used in November. I am very proud of myself. I feel like I tried out so many palettes, or revived so many palettes. I created so many fun looks. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure that you stay tuned, because I'll probably do a video soon for just specifically the holidays, like what are some great holiday palettes, and maybe some other beauty favorites that are perfect for like the holiday season. So I'll probably bring that to you soon too. So make sure that you stay tuned, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss it, as well as all my other fun, you know, beauty boxes and try-ons of them, and, you know, more palette reviews, and we'll be doing a lot more eyeshadows in the future. Yeah, super proud of myself. It is nowhere near Alicia's and some of the others out there, but I'm proud of it. It was so fun. We'll wrap it up here, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.